Welcome back to the Final K. We are live for stage 10 of the Tour de France, the first day in week 2 and the first day after the rest day. What is going on stage 2 or stage 10, sorry? Quite a lot. As you can see, that is the stage in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, and there is a lot going on. There's 7 categorized climbs in this one. They're currently got 73.4 kilometers to go in this stage, and we have got 4 groups up the road in front of the peloton. So we do. There was a group of Javier Romo and Harold Tejada, but Javier Romo has just broken out of that group. He's now going solo with 4 kilometers to go up this category 2 climb. Harold Tejada is 5 seconds down. Then we've got Ben Healy and Luis Vervaeke. They're 22 seconds down on Harold Tejada. Well, actually on Javier Romo now. And then Sergio Higuita, who was a part of that Ben Healy group and Luis Vervaeke group, he's been dropped from that group. And then we have got a massive chasing group of 13 riders behind that. And then we have got the peloton. So I will go through all of the riders that are involved in each group in just 1 second. Sorry, I just got a message there. But I'm very, very happy to see Ben Healy involved in the breakaway. I'm buzzing for this. Well, I mean, the peloton's a minute and 38 seconds down. So, I'm not holding out a lot of hope. Hello, Joe. Van Etveldt crash earlier. Lovely. Did he abandon? Please tell me he didn't. No, he didn't. Matteo Trentin didn't start today's stage. So there's someone who has abandoned the Tour de France, but I mean, Leonard Van Etveldt, glad to see he didn't abandon, but obviously I'm sure you're gutted with him crashing. As for who's involved, right, so like I said, Javier Romo, he's up the front on his own. 22 seconds down now is Harold Tejada. Sorry, my whole computer just flashed there in front of my eyes. Harold Tejada is 22 seconds down. And in Group 3, we've got Ben Healy and Luis Vervaeke, 35 seconds down now on Javier Romo. I'm assuming Higuita has been caught, as we seem to have another small group getting out of the... I want to go through all of the riders that are involved in this chasing group. So there's a group of 12 riders. Oh no, hold up. What is going on? No, Ben Healy's going to get caught. Yeah, so the chasing group was all over the road. It included the likes of Alex Boudin, Sergio Higuita, who was just dropped from the Ben Healy group up the road. Then there's Valentin Paribante, Ramses de Bruyne, Ben O'Connor, Luke Plapp, Jefferson Cepeda and Movistar. Then we've got Raul Garcia Pierna as well, Azerpan, Fred Wright, Roman Gregoire, Jordan Gigat. So we've got a massive, massive group up here. But we've got a massive group of 12 riders, chasing Javier Romo, Harold Tejada, Ben Healy and Luis Vervaeke. I think Ben Healy's just about to catch Harold Tejada here. He's not that far behind him, but Javier Romo looks very strong going up the road on his own. That is the yellow jersey, so it is on your screen. Obviously, the general classification hasn't, like, rest day yesterday, nothing has changed, and the big change from stage 9 was that Vasek dropped out of the top 10, and it is now Egan Bernal in 10th place. So it is. So I'm actually surprised Ineos are going for a top 10 in the GC. I'm expecting Egan Bernal to probably drop out of that top 10 at some point and probably go for a stage or 2 in the breakaway. We'll have to see how that plays out. But at the front of the peloton, I'm sure you can guess who's at the front of the peloton. It is UAE Emirates with their entire squad. I think Florian Vermeersch was, I think he just dropped off the front there not that long ago. So they're down to 7 riders at the front. I think Niels Pollitt is at the front, unless he has just recently dropped off there. But they were the 2 riders for UAE at the front, doing a lot of the pacing. But it took forever to get the breakaway up the road. There was, I'd say it took about between 40 to 60 kilometers before the breakaway even got started. The Mads Pedersen at the very start of the stage, he had a puncture. His front tire punctured, and it took a while for him to get back. And obviously the intermediate sprint as well. At the start of the stage, he was 25 kilometers into this race, and I mean, Little Trek rode like mad to try and get Mads Pedersen in a decent position. They eventually did. Did Mads Pedersen? I actually didn't realise that. I watched the intermediate sprint, and it was perfect. I actually thought Mads Pedersen didn't get first. I thought Max Canter got it, but I did see there was a, when they came up to the line, Mads Pedersen launched the bike forward, and I thought, oh, great, he didn't do enough there, but it looks like he did. I think PCS are saying he won the intermediate sprint, so it worked out in the end for Little Trek because Max Canter gets second and Biniam Girmay gets third, so Mads Pedersen gets an extra 9 points over Biniam Girmay. I didn't actually realize that Mads Pedersen won that. I thought it was Max Canter. Then after that, there was a big group went up the road. There was loads of, well, it took a while, but there was loads of Alpes. Mathieu van der Poel was trying to get involved at one point. Then there was 3 Movistar riders, just loads of different teams trying to get up the road, and then we eventually got the big breakaway. And they're hardly being led up the road. 1 minute and 24 seconds is all the peloton has given them. They're keeping them on a very short leash because, Pogacar's going for this win. This stage was, well, the last time we finished in, where's the stage finishing in again? I can't remember. Le Lorient. The last time the stage finished there was in 2024 for stage 11. And if you watch the Tour de France then, I'm sure you remember Jonas Vingegaard beating Tadej Pogacar in a sprint to the line. It was like once in a blue moon, that. So that was how that stage ended, and we're finally returning here, and it's actually the same. Not the lead up to the stage 11 one was there was a category 2 climb before the final category 3 climb. In today's stage, there's a category 1 climb before the final category 3 climb, and then they descend down, and then it's a slight uphill to the finish. But the breakaway, there's Higuita getting swept up by the peloton. Harold Tejada, he's been swept up by the chasing group, which are 47 seconds down on Javier Romo. Ben Healy is still up the road, but he's only got about a 7-second gap. Actually, I think Ben Healy's been caught because it says group 2. There's only 3 groups now on the live coverage, so I think Ben Healy has been caught. So if Ben Healy's been caught, that means Javier Romo is the solo rider up the road with 1.4 kilometers to go until the top of this category 2 climb. Then, like I said, 48 seconds down the road is going to be the chasing group. And here we are, we're getting aerial footage of the chasing group. Valentin Paris-Pantry, Vervaeke, Alex Boudin, Ben Healy, Ramses de Bruyne. There's a Groupama rider in there, which I'm going to assume is Guillaume Martin. I forgot to say hello. Hello to Breakaway and hello Kat. Hello. I've just clocked that there. Hope you're all good. There's Mark Hirschi being caught by the peloton now. 70.5 kilometers to go for this stage, and it looks like we're going to be having the peloton riding for the majority of it on their own, because the gap for the group up the road is 28 seconds. That'll be closed fairly quickly. Who is the other riders in that group? There's a Jayco rider struggling off the back, so I'm going to assume it's Luke Plack because Ben O'Connor he went out there. He was another one at the start of the day. He went up the road on his own, and then that was short-lived. So I'm not expecting him to be in there. I don't think he would have the legs for it. I think it might be Luke Platt, but there's PCS update now. Ramses de Bruyne, Valentin Paris-Pantry, Harold Tejada, Ben Healy, Alex Boudin, and then they've actually got the aerial camera now on Javier Romo. It was showing you the gap between them all. It is Luke Plapp. They've just updated there. So Luke Plapp, and it's Clement Brazafonso. So it is for Groupama. There's Roman Gregoire at the back of the peloton struggling to hang on. The French champion. He was trying to get involved in he was trying to get involved in the breakaway. I don't actually know if he did get involved in the breakaway or not. But they've 750 meters to the top of the climb. Sorry, Javier Romo has 750 meters. So he should be taking all 5 points for this one. And we know Javier Romo's a good breakaway rider. Timing has clashed badly with me making my omelette. Apologies, Kat. There's a fan with the French. There was Mbappe and Elise on a poster. Obviously Bastille Day today as well, so massive day for the French. There was a lot of French riders trying to get involved in the breakaway. There's Alex Boudin now accelerating out of the breakaway. Valentin Paris-Pantry following behind, as well as Ramses de Bruyne. Ben Healy as well trying to get across, but the gaps are opening up between all 4 of them. Valentin Pantry is on the wheel of Alex Boudin. Ramses De Bruyne now gets on the wheel of Valentin Pantry, and Ben Healy cannot make his way across to this group of three that have just attacked off the chasing group. Clement Brazafonso, Harold Tejada, Luke Plapp. I don't think they have anything left in the legs. But I mean, Alex Boudin. If you've seen my power rankings there for week 1, I put Alex Boudin in 10th place and for his breakaway performances in stage 4 and stage 9, and he's continuing that on in stage 10. He'll be looking for some extra points as well in the polka dot jersey because he was wearing it at one point. Then it got taken off him. I'm going to go through the jerseys here. So that's the yellow jersey. Like I said, only change from stage 9 was Vasek drops out of 10th and Egan Bernal moves into 10th. That is what the KOM jersey is looking like. It's obviously about to change there for Alex Boudin and Valentin Pantry as they'll pick up a few points here, but as it still stands, Tadej Pogacar is in the polka dot jersey. Jonas Vingegaard 2nd, Lenny Martinez 3rd. I think Alex Boudin, what is the points for 2nd? 3. So Alex Boudin could move into... he's not going to move up. He's just going to tie in 3rd. As for the points jersey, that's what the points jersey was like before today's intermediate sprint. Mads Pedersen 268, so he got 25 points there, so he's going to be on 293. So he's going to be on 293 points. Biniam Girmay, he got 16 points, so he's going to be 239. Max Cantor, he's going to be on 192. So he's going to go... Actually, no, he's not because Jasper Philipsen was still involved. But we're still going to see the same amount. Like, it's still going to be the same... Or will it? Will Jasper Philipsen go ahead of... What did Jasper Philipsen got 14 points. No, he's not. I had a feeling he was going to... move up, but no, I'm 10 points off for him moving into 3rd. But Mads Pedersen still leading the green jersey. Biniam Girmay still in 2nd. It pretty much that is the same order, just the points, add like 20 points or 15 to 20 points to each rider. And we go to a breakaway. So the riders caught by the peloton: Luis Vervaeke, Ben Healy, Clement Brazafonso, Harold Tejada, and Luke Plapp. So they've all been caught by the peloton. Alex Boudin, Valentin Pantry, Ramses De Bruyne are the surviving riders out of that chasing group after Alex Boudin's attack. And then Javier Romo is still up the road 34 seconds. Hello, Shelley. Hello. Do you think Tim Merlier will finish in time? Already 13 minutes behind. It is going to be a long day for Tim Merlier. So it is. If you're Tim Merlier, you're going to be... Yeah, it's going to be a long one. I hope he does finish. I reckon he should finish in the... I think he will. I think they might put a few teammates around him. I would like to think they put a few teammates around him and try and bring him to the finish. He's not on... His time gap isn't on PCS, so I don't actually know his time, but you're saying 13 minutes, so I will take your word for it. I was going to say something there and I can't remember what I was going to say. I had something that I was going to say and I cannot remember what it was. Well, it's not going to come to me. It was a classic Max Mads sprint effort. Well, that intermediate, I genuinely thought Max Cantor did get it, but the thrust on the line from Mads Pedersen seems to have won him them extra 5 points, and they could be crucial, for this week too, because there's 2 sprint stages tomorrow. Well, 1 sprint stage tomorrow, then another sprint stage, and I don't think with the sprinting results recently, I mean, it's only 9 points, but you never know. Them 9 points could be really, really crucial at the end of week 3. So that move potentially could have won him the green jersey. We never know. But it was an unreal effort from Max Cantor. So it was. I didn't actually expect him to be involved in that, because Little Trek were riding really, really hard, and it wasn't flat either. It was the sprint was up a hill. So Max Cantor was beating the likes of Biniam Girmay and Jasper Philipsen on an uphill sprint. Hello, Nick. Site work done for the day. Desk work now. Chill with the tour on. Very good. Nick sounds good. But yes, I should get a poll going. So I shall. because I mean I'm not expecting the breakaway to win it, so I'm not. I'll put obviously Tadej Pogacar can go in there. I don't know whether to put Jonas Vingegaard just because Jonas beat him on in the same area in a sprint in 2024, so I'm not sure whether I should put him or if I should put Isaac Del Toro. Actually, I'll put Jonas Vingegaard because you never know what could happen. You never know. So Jonas Vingegaard can go in there, and then I know who I'm putting in the third spot. It was my prediction for the stage if it came to a break. In my prediction, I pretty much said, but the way things are going, Tadej Pogacar's written all over the stage, but I wanted to give my prediction for a breakaway if it did happen. Obviously, the breakaway is going to get caught, and my rider wasn't involved in the breakaway, but I will put him in the poll nonetheless because he could pull something off here. You never know, especially with him. And my prediction for the day is going to be Richard Carapaz. So there is the poll. You know, I mean, I think everyone's vote is going to go to Tadej Pogacar, but my hopeful vote goes to Richard Carapaz. That is who I'm rooting for if Tadej Pogacar didn't exist. Saw that replay on TNT. What a sprint. That was in 24, yeah. I mean, Jonas Vingegaard got dropped and then he clawed his way back to Tadej Pogacar and then beat him in a sprint. It's very rare you see Jonas Vingegaard win a sprint. Never mind beating Tadej Pogacar in a sprint. So it is. But here we go. We're back. The live coverage is back. 64.9 kilometers to go. 2 kilometers until the top of the next climb. I'm actually going to just quickly put the red arrow on to show you whereabouts we are. We are currently sat in between these two categorized climbs. So I'll leave that up for a minute, but that is where we're currently sat. We've just finished that category 2 climb. We're doing this category 3 climb now. It's 3.1 kilometers long, has an average of 6%, and we've got 1.8 kilometers to go on it. Riders are going through a feed zone at the moment, and then bags look really heavy as they're filled with about 10 water bottles each. But at the front of the peloton, UAE are riding. I don't know. I'm going to wait for this camera to zoom out to see how many riders they've got remaining. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5 riders left, including Tadej Pogacar and Isaac Del Toro. So I'm going to assume Brandon McNulty, Grosschartner, Adam Yates. Wonder what happened to Tim. I know Tim Wellens is apparently pulling the breakaway, so someone is missing here. It's either going to be Grosschartner or Brandon McNulty. So it is. I don't see why Adam. Here we go. We're number 4 and 3 are the other 2 riders. 7, 4, and 3. Let's have a quick look. No, it's Adam Yates that's missing. Adam Yates is the one that's not. Now that surprised me. I didn't expect Adam Yates not to be there. So the teammates Tadej Pogacar has left. Obviously Isaac Del Toro, Grosschartner, Brandon McNulty, and Tim Wellens. Florian Vermeersch and Niels Pollitt have done their job for the day. I'm not actually sure on Adam Yates unless he's done his job already. But Team Visma-Leasebike, they're the team behind UAE, so they're as always. And then we've got Red Bull as well. Little Trek, maybe. I think they're the team behind Red Bull. They're just showing the front 2 teams at the moment, but Jonas Vingegaard is on the wheel of Tadej Pogacar, and I'm expecting him to be there for the majority of the race. Yeah, so it's Red Bull have 3 riders behind the Visma-Leasebike team, and then it is Little Trek that is the team behind Red Bull, who could be the, I'm going to assume, obviously Remco and Florian Lipowitz, but the third rider could be Maxime Van Gils or could be Jai Hindley. I'd edge more towards Maxime Van Gils is who I would believe it to be, but here's the peloton. They're about to catch Alex Boudin, Valentin Parry-Pantry, and Ramses de Bruyne, so no breakaway win today. I bet you all the teams will be fuming with this because before the tour, even when the tour got announced, and all the stage profiles came out, you would have looked at this and said, after the first rest day, this has the breakaway all over it. But with the past 3 stages, we had 2 sprint stages, and then we finally had a breakaway winner in Mathieu van der Poel. I think someone commented on it, and I actually agree with him. I think Tadej Pogacar is a bit sick of sitting in the peloton, and he wants a bit of action, and he wants to go on to win a stage. So I expect I mean, go after stage 9. I expected nothing less of UAE going into today's stage. But come on, like, yeah, again, just have a day off. They had the 2 sprint stages of. I mean, they've had too many days off. But Javier Romo, he's got 500 meters left for the top of this category 3 climb. The Col de Prat de Bouc is the pronunciation I shall go with. Don't know if that's a correct pronunciation though, but Javier Romo's about to hit the descent out of. He's actually got about a 55-second gap on the peloton going solo. I'd be pretty happy with that, especially with UAE chasing you down. But the peloton itself is actually looking pretty small as well, because UAE are going to they're going to just put the foot down and just put everyone through it. I will remove that red arrow now because I expect myself to forget about it, because I usually do when I put it up, and then I look back and there's 10 kilometers left and the red arrow's still sitting on the 50-kilometer mark. Reese will expect us to follow a dress code here. I've got a dress code on. I put on my yellow jersey for today, so the whole screen is probably yellow for yourselves if you are watching this. The only bit of colour is the French flag behind me, but apart from that, everything is yellow. But Javier Romo, he crosses the top of the Col de Prat de Bouc alone. He gets 2 points for doing so. He's picked up 5 points as well in the previous Category 2 climb, so he's now on to 7 points already in the polka dot jersey. The winner of that Category 3 climb at the start of the day was Valentin Paripandre. He picked up the 2 points, and Luis Vervaeke picked up the 1 point. So hold up, Valentin Paripandre. Oh, here we go. A bit of a difference. So Valentin Paripandre, he picks up 3 points in the Cat 2 and 2 points in the Cat 3. So he's picked up 5 points. Let me go back to the KOM. So Valentin Paripandre now moves into 3rd virtually. I think he picked up that other point, so now he's on 18 points. So he's just 1 point behind Jonas Vingegaard at the moment. I mean, I don't see him moving any further because they are going to get caught very, very soon. And I was going through the jerseys and I completely forgot, but the youth jersey, big change in the youth jersey is, look at that time gap already. Isaac Del Toro first. Isaac Del Toro still in the white jersey. Then you've Juan Ayuso, Paul Sexas, and Lenny Martinez all under 1 minute. And then in 5th was Vasek, just like he was 10th in the actual GC. But after dropping very early on in stage 9, he moves. He's completely out of the youth jersey now. I think he's in 9th, yeah. So he's in 9th, and Davide Piganzoli is in 5th. 7 minutes and 19 seconds down already. 7 minutes down in 5th for the stage 10 in the white jersey. I said in my preview, I said when you're predicting the white jersey, 5th and 4th are probably going to be sitting about near an hour down, maybe an hour and a half down each. But we will see how the white jersey continues. As for the favourites today, they're just showing Javier Romo go down this descent. He's currently going 80 kilometers an hour. 43 seconds down is Valentin Paripandre, Alex Boudin, and Ramses de Bruyne. And then 53 seconds down is going to be the peloton. So there is a gap of, the gap's going down very quickly at the moment. There's a gap of 8 seconds, 7-8 seconds between the chasing group and the peloton. But Javier Romo is sitting comfortable out the front on his own. The most we've actually seen of Javier Romo so far this season was in the Itzulia Basque Country. So it was when he was up against Paul Sexas and he was up against Roglic, as well as, who was the other one? I can't remember. Let me see if I can. Yeah, Roglic and Florian. I can't believe I forgot Lipowitz. But Paul Sexas attacked in that stage. Lipowitz and Roglic followed, and then Javier Romo bridged across, and at the top of the climb, he hit the wheel of, I think it was Florian Lipowitz. He hit the wheel of Florian Lipowitz and crashed at the top of the hill. He was able to pick up 3rd in the end, but I think if he made it over the top in that front group, I think he would have potentially won that stage over Paul Sexas. Obviously, Florian Lipowitz didn't win that. He got 2nd, so he still has to wait for his first ever UCI World Tour win. we're into the final 60k now, so I can finally change this to 60. But if you're looking for the specifics, 58.4 kilometers left. That is how long is left. And I was going through the white jersey, and I was just about to go into the favourites. So the favourites for today's stage are going to be as follows. Tadej Pogacar is the favourite for today's stage by a country mile. By a country mile. Second favourite is Isaac Del Toro at 11-1. That just shows you the size of the favourite Tadej Pogacar is for this stage. Richard Carapaz third favourite at 14-1. Jonas Vingegaard in fourth at 18-1, and then Tobias Johannesson, Remco, Tom Pidcock. Six, as Ben Healy was into the top 10 for favourites at 40-1, as well as Valentin Paripantry. But it is it's Tadej Pogacar that looks like he's going to be running the show today. Where he's going to attack from, that is the main question. I've seen someone say he's going to attack from 40 kilometres out. 40 kilometres to go is roughly around the foot of the first Category 1 climb. Now, if Tadej Pogacar attacks and we get Jonas Vingegaard, Remco, etc., following, then I'll perk up and go, right, we might have a stage here. But the way I see it going is Tadej Pogacar attacks, no one can follow. Well, Jonas can follow for a bit. Then we start to see him drop off. And then, the group in the battle for second and the battle for third commences. And that is where my interest then goes towards, because once Tadej Pogacar goes up the road and he gets a time gap, no one is catching him. Well, Jonas Vingegaard did catch him in 2024, so they're just interviewing Pogacar here. They're just asking him if he can remember the stage from 2024. And he's media trained to perfection, so he is. But the chasers of Alex Boudin, Valentin Paripantry, and Ramses de Bruyne have been caught by the peloton. So it is Javier Romo versus the world at the moment. But Ramses de Bruyne still has a small gap, but he should be brought in fairly quickly. But yeah, Javier Romo versus UAE, that is the battle that is about to commence once they bring in Ramses de Bruyne here. Tim Wellens still at the front of the peloton. He's still at the front. Grosjean in second wheel, Tadej Pogacar in third wheel, so he's actually moved up a bit from fifth wheel, and then I'm going to assume that Brandon McNulty's on the wheel of Tadej Pogacar, and then Del Toro is the last man of the UAE squad. Maybe Tadej Pogacar's moving up because he can feel an attack brewing, but we will not know until that happens. Just showing Javier Romo on the descent here, as he's actually gaining time on the peloton. 57 seconds is the gap. Hopefully he can hold out, make the stage a tiny bit more interesting. Actually, it's down to 53 seconds. Jeez, 52. This is gonna be a long stage if the peloton catch him. I hope it's just not the peloton riding for, because then I have nothing to talk about. I hope if the peloton do catch Javier Romo, I hope Tadej Pogacar attacks fairly quickly after that. The steepest climb of the day is going to be the second Category 1 climb. So it is averages about 8.3%, 8.5% in and around that. The climb they're about to hit though, Category 3, the Côte de Murat, 8.3 kilometers, 5.2 kilometers at 5%. That is the next difficulty that the riders are going to have to face. But Javier Romo seems like he's going to be hitting this first, and then the peloton shall follow 49 seconds later. Sorry. But the gap is dropping. The gap is dropping, so it is. Let me have a quick look at the polls, see what everyone is saying. 73% go with Tadej Pogacar, 10% have went for Jonas Vingegaard, 3% for Richard Carapaz, and 13% for other. So other is actually beating out Jonas and Richard Carapaz. I wonder who the people who voted for other who they had in mind, but Tadej Pogacar leading it with 74% of the vote. Javier Romo now out of the saddle. 53.5 kilometers left. Nearly hitting the 50 kilometer mark. And the gap is stabilizing at 50 seconds for the peloton. Oh. Don't forget, if you are new, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm going to be live for every single stage in week 2 and every single stage in week 3. So I was live there for the entirety of week 1 as well. So don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, join the community, come into the chat, talk about cycling, yada yada, you know, all that. It is greatly appreciated as the road to 1,000 subscribers is on. Thinking Tadej Pogacar and Isaac Del Toro will do the 1-2. Don't know who wins though. I think Tadej Pogacar. I think you could be right. I think with the way the climbs are looking, I think we could definitely have a 1-2 from UAE, and it would, if that happens, that'd be devastating. So it would, for the peloton, for UAE to just completely dominate the podium, dominate the peloton and dominate the podium. But I think if it came down to who was going to win it, I think we're looking at Tadej Pogacar winning, because he gave Del Toro a stage win in stage 2, and I think Tadej Pogacar has that record in his sights. Unfortunately, I don't want him to be going for that record of Mark Cavendish, but it looks like that is what he has got his sights set on. No more gifts. He wants his 36 plus stages. Yeah, agreed. He will. Yeah, I think that's what would happen if it came down between those two. I hope Jonas can follow, but I believe Del Toro is better on this climb. I think you might be a tad bit right. Breakaway. I think Del Toro might. I mean, if Tadej Pogacar and Del Toro attack, it's going to be very hard for anyone to hold the wheel or anyone to catch them. I mean, will Remco and will Lipowitz work together on this one? That's another question. I think, obviously, if you didn't see the video between obviously stage 6 happened. Remco was furious about Lipowitz not helping him, and then Red Bull came out with this video on the team bus. It was, oh, pardon me. It was a brutal watch. If you can find it, go and watch it. They're sitting on the team bus and the camera's recording them and saying, good stage, wasn't it? And it was just so awkward to watch it. But hopefully that video means that they're all good and they're going to work together. We'll not find out though for another wee while. I'm on a break, by the way. I don't have the light. Actually, I might be able to get the multi-screen going. See if there we go. Got the multi-screen up. So at the front of the peloton is Grosschartner. Grosschartner now takes over at the front of the peloton. Adam Yates is back in the UAE squad, so he has returned. He disappeared, but he's now back. So UAE have six riders remaining. Grosschartner, Tim Wellens, Adam Yates, Tadej Pogacar, and Isaac Del Toro. They're showing the back of the peloton here as well. Who is that? I think that's Jordan Jagat of Total Energies. No, it's not. It's number 2. Who's number 2? Nicolas Broulard. There's the Haribo mascot as well. That's actually weird. That's the first time I've actually seen the Haribo mascot. I didn't even realize they would have had a mascot, but it actually makes sense too for them to have the mascot out. But at the back is Nicolas Broulard of Total Energies, as well as Jordan Jagat. He's a couple riders up the road as well. And then AF Education's Alex Boudin is struggling to hold on, as well as Valentin Parpentry out of the saddle doing his signature climbing style. But Javier Romo's still looking comfortable up the road. Oh, we've actually got the time gaps of the green jersey on the multi-view. So Mads Pedersen, not as bad as I expected. So Mads Pedersen is 3 minutes and 45 seconds down on the front of the race. So that means he's only about 2 minutes 2 minutes 40 seconds down on the peloton. That isn't too bad when you compare that to Tim Merlier, who is currently 17.5 minutes down on the peloton. That is a tad bit worrying. If I was Quick Step, I mean, he's won 2 stages, so if he does finish outside of the time limit, you could say he's won 2 stages and job's done. But there's still 2 sprint stages tomorrow where he could potentially win 4 with how he's sprinting. But if he does finish outside the time limit, it could actually mix things up for the sprint. We could see a different winner. Obviously, Olaf Koy won the first one, but Tim Merlier has been bossing him ever since. I don't know why I'm yawning. I keep yawning. I'm not even tired. Who's that at the back for Movistar? Pablo Castillo as well. He's struggling at the back. So the riders at the back of the peloton struggling to hold on. Alex Boudin, Valentin Paripantre, Jordan Gigat, Pablo Castillo. The rider up the road solo, Javier Romo. He's got a gap of near a minute now, 56 seconds, sorry. Tim Wellens is back to the front of the peloton. But it's UAE at the front as always. Visma Leasebike in behind. Red Bull and then Little Trek. I'm actually surprised with Red Bull because they brought this really strong team. You know, they have the likes of Maxime Van Gils, Jai Hindley, Jan Tratnik, and every time we cut to the peloton and we see the aerial view off the peloton, Red Bull, it's like very rarely you see Red Bull have more than Remco and Lipowitz remaining in the peloton. Like today they have 3, but usually they have 2. So I mean, Jai Hindley, he rode the Giro d'Italia. Maxime Van Gils, he rode the Tour of Rhone Alps there recently. But I'm just surprised that the Red Bull have always such little teammates remaining. I think it is Jai Hindley, the one that is remaining with. I'm trying to see who it is alongside Remco and Lipowitz. But I mean, if you've that much money pumped into the team and you've a strong team with you, and every time it gets to crunch time and you've only got the 2 main guys remaining, you've no teammates around them. Like if you look at Little Trek, I think they've got about 4 riders behind. Obviously, Juan Ayuso, Skelmoza. Then they probably have Carlos Verona as well as Derek G. West. You would expect alongside Remco and Lipowitz, they've got a teammate today, but you would expect the likes of a Maxime Van Gils and a Jai Hindley to be sitting with them comfortably. But they're usually sitting as a pair on their own. Lenny Martinez now, he's at the back of the peloton. He was grabbing a water bottle as he very easily rides past all the riders who are at the back of the peloton. Who's that for Quick Step? Who's helping? Ilian van Wilder. Oh, that's I don't my nose at you. Ilian van Wilder. He is the rider that is protecting Valentin Paripantre at the moment at the back of the peloton. Ilian van Wilder's doing well in the GC though, so I'm surprised to see him be the one to help. Maybe try and keep him in the race for the KOM. Where's Ilian van Wilder when it comes to the GC? Let me check. Ilian van Wilder is currently sat in 14th, 9:45 down. So he's 33 seconds off top 10. He's got Johannesson, Bernal, Sean Quinn, Pidcock in front of him. But see the battle for third, even second, it's still looking good. Like Skelmos is in 9th, 4:57 down. And then you've got Isaac Del Toro in third, 3:27 down. So that's a gap of a minute and 30? A minute and 30 from third to 9th. That isn't bad. That's actually very, very good. Especially with the stages to come in week 2. Like I said, we've got the 2 sprint stages up next. I think they're sprint. I'm pretty sure they're sprint stages. Let me just double check. Yeah, stage 11 sprint. Stage 12 possible sprint as well. I'd say there's a possible opportunity for a breakaway to potentially grab stage 12, just with how the end of the stage is looking. Could see a wee attack on that. Stage 13. I'm excited for 13. 13 looks good. I mean, the whole start of 13 looks as boring as ever, but from the final It's the long. I'm pretty sure this is the longest stage at the tour this year. 206 kilometers, and the final 60 kilometers look brilliant. Looks very, very fun. And then obviously stage 14 and 15, we've got the Plateau des Soleils on, as well as the Category 1 climb with the flat finish at the top of it. The Col du Hague is the last climb in stage 14. So week 2 is looking good. Starting off strong and finishing strong. So it should be a good second week in the tour. Let me get back to the race, give you a quick update on how things are looking in this one. But I don't think much has changed. Not going to lie. So 48.2 kilometers to go. We're into the final 50 kilometers. And we've got 350 meters until the top of this next categorized climb, this category 3 climb. Javier Romo is still up the road on his own with a 43-second gap on the peloton. That is what the time gaps are looking like. The peloton's actually quite small as well. UAE at the front, Visma Leasebike in behind them. We've got Red Bull, Little Trek, Decathlon are still there. Net Company have a couple riders, including Egan Bernal, because I've seen him towards the back. Who are the other riders for Net Company? I don't know. Timon Aronson, he was involved in the break, so he was. So I wonder if he's still involved in the peloton. But who could be the other rider for Net Company? Where is Net Company? I can't find them. There we go. So it could be Kevin Vacklin, because he was involved as well, and they got caught. So it could be Kevin Vacklin and Timon Aronson alongside Egan Bernal left for Net Company. AF Education have a few riders towards the back, as well as Barry and Victorious. Apologies, breakaway, for making you yawn. I don't know. I've got another yawn brewing. I don't know why. I'm yawning here, but the stage isn't that boring. Before anyone asks, it's getting onto the boring side at the moment. But Javier Romo is saving the stage. Alex Boudin, he crosses the top of the categorized climb in front of UAE. He put in a small attack there at the top, so I think he gets an extra point for that. Hopefully that was worth it in the end. But hello, Rubber. hello. The gap's now down to 38 seconds. There's a guy dressed in a T-Rex costume with a French flag as a cape, but the T-Rex has deflated. Valentin Paripandre, is he getting bottles, or is he dropping out off the back of the peloton? Quinn Simmons is still involved there for Little Trek. See what I mean? Little Trek still have the riders. Red Bull don't. Like, obviously you expect UAE and Visma Leasebike to have the riders remaining at the front because they're the two big guys. But with the team, I genuinely expected a bit more from the Red Bull team. Like, not from the I'm just talking about as a squad as a whole, because I don't understand obviously they had the team time trial in mind, and they've also got the breakaway in mind as well for the likes of a Maxime Van Gils or someone like that. But you know, you bring the riders such as Nico Dens, Tim Van Dyke, Jan Tratnik, Mattia Cataneo, and then you know we've got 60 kilometers near, actually probably from about 80 kilometers to go, and none of them are there. Well, I actually take that back. I don't know if one of those are the riders alongside Remco and Lipowitz, so I stand corrected if one of them is there, but you know the majority of them aren't, unfortunately. So it does look like Red Bull are just, Red Bull's hopes lie on the fact of whether Remco and Lipowitz can gel and work together. Obviously, we seen that was a big question at Little Trek between Juan Ayuso and Scalmoza, and that question got answered in the Tour of Unrun Alps. The question hasn't really been answered in for Remco and Lipowitz. Obviously, they work together. Well, sorry, Remco worked for Lipowitz in the Catalunya, and I see when Remco was a domestique for Lipowitz in that Catalunya, he was absolutely brilliant, very, very good. But when Remco wanted a bit of reciprocation, Lipowitz wasn't there, so we still haven't got that question answered if these two can work together. And if you want to show off you can work together, I mean, the Tour de France is the place to do it. 30 seconds, the gap now, 45.3 kilometers to go. I seen something this morning there that Tadej Pogacar is apparently looking to ride the Vuelta a España. So that will be a big boost for the Vuelta a España, because the start list at the moment obviously will not get, you know, a lot of the riders being announced until after the Tour de France, you know, seeing how riders and all feel. But with how the let me see if I can get it up. The Vuelta a España. So at the moment, Felix Gal, Riccatello, Carlos Rodriguez, Skelmose, Utebrooks, Maas, Roglic, Joao Almeida, Jorgen Nordhagen. I mean, when you obviously, if I'm looking at that Vuelta, I'd be buzzing for it just because of all the riders. I mean, off the back of the season, you'd probably be looking at a Felix Gal win potentially, which is crazy to say for a Grand Tour. But if Tadej Pogacar gets involved in that Vuelta a España, I think you're talking 10, maybe even 15 minutes from first to second. I think it would be it would literally just be, I'd be watching the Vuelta for second place, because I know Tadej Pogacar would go on to win it, and he would absolutely demolish it. So I mean, I know a lot of people want him to ride the Vuelta, obviously because he's still yet to win it. The Vuelta would want him to ride the Vuelta. I mean, I'd rather see him ride the World Championships and sort of skip the Vuelta, make things a bit more entertaining in the Vuelta. Hello, Leonardo. Hello. And we go to an ad break. Oh, of course we do. Of course we hit an ad break. Well, you could have Joao Almeida in for the Vuelta a España potentially winning it, but I mean, with the form he's been on, it would need to be a lot. But if he was on top form, I'd be saying Joao Almeida would go on to win it. But it would be a cool battle between himself and Felix Gal anyway. Tadej Pogacar, what position? So he's currently sat in the peloton, sitting around 4th or 5th wheel at the moment. He's chopping and changing from the back because UAE have 6 riders left. He's chopping and changing. He was sitting in 6th wheel, and then he was up to 3rd, and then he was, you know, in and around there. If it's 11 billion degrees in France, how hot will the Vuelta be? The Vuelta will be scorching. It would be really, really warm. Like, tires were melting in stage 2. Obviously, the Tour de France started in Spain, and tires were melting in Barcelona. So God knows what the heat is going to be like in the Vuelta. They're going to. I heard teams are ordering extra water bottles. They're going to need to order extra tires, or just wear the thicker tires. Plank temperature. So we're still at an ad break. I have no coverage. I can swap to the multi-viewer, but by the time I swap to the multi-viewer, then we'll be back on this one. I can't really remember last year, but this year there seems to be a lot more adverts for cyclists that are actually involving the cyclists, because I've seen one for Ben Girmay, I've seen one for Tadej Pogacar, obviously Bora have there. I'm swapping over to the multi-viewer because the ads are boring me, but it's pretty cool to see the advertisements involve the riders themselves. I always remember the Alpecin, that Alpecin caffeine shampoo advert from about 10 years ago. I was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But Del Toro now, he's at the back of the peloton here. I've swapped to the multi-viewer, so I've got the coverage back up. Del Toro is the last rider in the peloton. Obviously, he'll be collecting bottles, but I'm surprised he's the one on bottle duty. Well, I mean, he has to learn, so send them back. Why not? Grossschartner's now at the front for UAE. He's putting in what seems a very, very fast pace. 24 seconds is the gap. Who is that with Net Company? 82. Obviously, you can't miss Egan Bernal. Who's that in front of Egan Bernal, though? 83. 82 and 83 are the remaining riders for Net Company, alongside Egan Bernal. Who is it? Tobias Foss and Arnsman. They're the last two riders for... Well, sorry, the last three riders for Net Company. Riders remaining for Visma, 16, 17. Jorgensen, Seb Kuss. I'd expect Davide Peganzoli to still be there. But who else is left for Visma Lease Bike? Have they only got the three? Time gap's now under 20 seconds for Javier Romo to the peloton. I think Javier Romo might be, so far, the rider of the day. I'm giving it to Javier Romo because this is some effort from him. There's Del Toro. Look at the speed Del Toro hit there. You've got the riders struggling at the back of the peloton. Like Valentin Parpanter's out of the saddle trying to keep up. So's Alex Boudin. And Isaac Del Toro just... I can't even describe. The pace he just passed them at is scary. Right, so I can hear the live coverage is back up because they're showing something on the screen that I can't see. And it's the top of the climb, so let's have a look. The crowds are... What is the crowd doing? They've like bulletproof vests on, throwing slippers about and everything. What is that? the crowd at the top of how do you pronounce it? The Poi Mary, I think is how it's pronounced. I mean, yet again, I don't know, but it is they're about to hit the bottom of it. We're into the final 40 kilometers. Here we go. Final 40 kilometers, hitting the Category 1 climb, and Tadej Pogačar should be lining up for an attack very soon. Fingers crossed it comes fairly soon, because, I mean, 40 kilometers of, or even the next 20 kilometers of just the peloton and nothing going on. Why did they not just let the breakaway go up the road? Why? But it's 7.7 kilometers, has an average of 5.9%, and the top of the climb is where you're talking the steeper gradients. I mean, the first 3.5 kilometers, you're talking lowest 5.5%. Lowest 5%, maximum 7%, and then there's a flat section in the middle of the climb for like 2 kilometers. 1%, 3%, and then the final 2.5 kilometers is where it is at 9.6%, 8.5%, and 9.1% is what the final three sections are looking like on that climb. 16 seconds for Romo, down to 14 now, Rubber. That is what the gap is looking like. It was a minute, well, close to a minute, about 10 kilometers ago, and now we are down to 13 seconds. So UAE clearly up on the pace. Well, either UAE are up on the pace, or Javier Romo is losing the pace. But Javier Romo's out of the saddle here. I think he knows himself that it's going to be over fairly soon. 12 seconds. There we go. The bottom off the climb. The bottom of the first Category 1 climb, and Javier Romo hits it. 12-second gap on the peloton. The peloton has just hit the bottom of the climb there as well. 7.7 kilometers and an average of 6%. Quinn Simmons still involved for... I said that earlier, but I'm surprised to see him still involved. EF Education are moving up slightly on the left-hand side of the road. Quinn Simmons is trying to get Juan Ayuso up, I believe. I think they overtake Red Bull in the team rankings for what the front of the peloton is looking like. But there's Javier Romo. He unzips a jacket, looks over the shoulder, sees the gap is 6 seconds, and I think he's sitting up now. Pardon me. But Tim Wellens is back to the front of the peloton. He's still involved. So he goes to the front. He's going to pass Javier Romo, and he's going to kick it up a gear. Oh no, there you go. Tim Wellens as soon as Javier Romo gets caught, Tim Wellens pulls off to the side, and I'm going to assume Großschartner is pulling through here. But we get an aerial view off the peloton. Lenny Martinez still involved. Them 3 Net Company riders are still involved. EF Education, I think they've still 3 riders. Obviously, they'll be working for Richard Carapaz now. This is the point that Peacock would say. Do you want Pogacar to... I don't know. I don't think Pogacar's going for the stage win. It doesn't look like he is. But with 38 kilometers to go, we have got a full peloton. 3 climbs still to hit, and 38 kilometers still to brace. They're showing a like a visual graphic of what the climb looks like as Richard Carapaz attacks out the front off the peloton. A bit of action. Here we go. Richard Carapaz has attacked out the front of the peloton with 6.8 kilometers to go off this Category 1 climb. Will this be enough? We've seen him do it in the Tour de Suisse, but I mean UAE weren't chasing him down. He was chasing down Tadej Pogacar and he couldn't in the end. But it is good to see Richard Carapaz attacking out the front. He could be going for the 10 points at the top of the climb, but I mean, with 6.7 kilometers to go, I think he's pulled a pin and said, right, you know what, I'm sick of waiting in this peloton. I want to have a go at him. And fair play to him for doing so. 10 seconds is the gap already. Never mind, it's down to 9. He's not even gaining time. Oh no. 11. He's gaining time. He gained 1 second. There's Valentin Paripantra out the back. Nicholas Boulard as well of Total Energies. He's out the back. Valentin Paripantra gives a wave, sticks the tongue out because he is wrecked. I think that was another rider from a rider from AF Education dropping out the back as well. They're just showing the replay off the attack. He comes up the left hand side. Großschartner clocks him. And then he gets out of the saddle as well to up the tempo. Doesn't want to give him too much of a gap because we know what is going to come. And that is going to be a Tadej Pogacar launch. W. Carapaz, yes, breakaway indeed. W. Carapaz. It's a shame no one tried to go with him, but we've got riders dropping off the back, like I said, Valentin Paripantra. Quinn Simmons is another one. Who I think that's Alex Boudin and Ben Healy. They did their job of bringing Carapaz up to the front of the peloton, and now their job is done as it is now on the shoulders of Richard Carapaz to pull something off here in stage 10. The gap is 15 seconds now, so he's gained 5 seconds there in the past 600 metres. But with the entirety of the UAE team, well, not even the entirety, with 4 riders of the UAE team chasing you down, which probably feels like an entire team chasing you down, it's how far will he go? Do you think Pogacar will ride the Vuelta or not? If he can ride the Vuelta and the World Championships, he'll do it. He'll find some way to ride the both of them. But if he rides the Vuelta, it lowers his chances in the World Championships. If he doesn't ride it, obviously he'll go on to win the World Championships. But I think even at a disadvantage in the World Championships, he probably will win it as well. Gap's now 17 seconds, but do I think he's going to win it? Or not win it. Do I think he's going to ride it? I think he probably will, just because Joao Almeida is a bit iffy for UAE at the moment, and UAE don't really have a GC guy to go in for the win. So I think they might send Tadej Pogacar. Steep section coming up. They'll bleed more riders soon. So yeah, when do they hit that steep section? Because I had it up. So, where is it? So they climb 7.7 kilometers. They hit the steep section with roughly around 2 kilometers to go. So we've got another 2.5 kilometers of. I think this next 2 kilometer section is the flat bit. So they finish the not so steep section off the climb. They then hit the flat section, and then they're hitting the very steep part at the end of it. Richard Carapaz has a gap of 21 seconds. 22 seconds is the gap. 23 seconds. Oh, hold up. The seconds are growing. So yeah, they're showing the riders remaining for Jonas Vingegaard, and it is 3 riders you would expect to be there: Piganzoli, Kuss, and Jorgensen. There we go. So I've now got the answer of who that rider is with the Red Bull boys. So we've got Lipowitz and Remco, but Jai Hindley is the one remaining. And then behind Red Bull, we have got Little Trek. There's one Little Trek rider actually out the back. Who is that? I think that's Derek G. He's just hanging on to the back of the peloton, as well as Tish Benoit and Arnsman. So Arnsman, Tish Benoit, and Derek G. and Jordan Gigat are the final 4 riders in the peloton. Who's up the road? Well, not up the road. Who's in front? Pablo Castrillo is the rider in front. But you can see the crowd starting to pick up on this climb. 4.6 kilometers left of the climb. They're showing Paul Sexas on the screen at the moment. Who would he still have with him? You know, like I said, Tish Benoit, he's hanging on at the back. I mean, you'd want Matthew Riccatello to be there. You'd want Nicola Prodom to be there. Could Parapanther still be there? I don't know. I don't actually know how many riders are left for Decathlon in the group. But the camera swaps back to Richard Carapaz, who has a 26-second gap on the peloton. 4.4 kilometers off the climb to go for himself. 35 for the stage. As he gets out of the saddle and puts in another acceleration. He's got something up his sleeve, Carapaz. He has got some. He had a plan going into this. And he obviously chose the right time. Well, he chose his time to attack. He obviously, I don't know his thinking behind the attack and why he attacked there, but obviously he's got something in mind. Remember, the final 2.5 kilometers are harder, so be ready for the final 2 kilometers to have energy. That is the UAE radio over the radio to the UAE team. Just letting them know to have energy remaining for the final 2.5 kilometers, because that is where the steepness kicks up. 9%, 9.5%, in and around that. We've got 3.8 kilometers off this climb remaining. 1.7 kilometers left until we hit the steep section. The gap is 28 seconds. So I wonder if Carapaz can get more seconds here on the steeper section of the climb. That'll be interesting. Is Sexas a future Tour de France champion? Yes, I hope so. You know, you never know like what could happen, but as things stand, yeah, I believe Sexas is going to win the Tour de France. I think he's going to win multiple Tour de France's. Actually, he's just probably one of the best talents in cycling in recent memory. And is the 13 million a year contract legit? Well, I mean, with who Pinarello have as their owner, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be legit. Like, I mean, if obviously their owner he's a billionaire, and if the chance came up that, you know, you could sign Sexas for a $13 million contract, or 13 million, euro contract, I think he could muster one up. If that, I mean, is that rumor true though? I think it is. I think that 13 million, I think it is true. But I mean, Paul Sexas did an interview saying he hasn't seen any contracts come his way, so I mean, whether that's true or not, apparently Visma Leasebike were involved as well. Whether that, it's just going to be rumor after rumor for Paul Sexas' signature. And then in the end, with all the rumors going about of all the teams potentially looking at him, I think he's going to stay with Decathlon. I hope he stays with Decathlon, but I hope he stays with Decathlon, and I hope he doesn't go to UAE. If he goes to UAE, that is an awful move for the sport of cycling. But I think he is going to remain with Decathlon. I think it is the right move for him as well. Carapaz winning this one, says Arthur. Well, 34 seconds is the gap. That is the gap he has on the peloton. 2.5 kilometers to go. So I think it's about 2.1 where the steep section kicks up. So about 400 meters for Carapaz until he hits that steep section of the climb. There are a few teams standing at the side of the road with a few bottles trying to give out there. The Carapaz just passed before the steep section, so I wonder who's going to take bottles there. They're just showing is this the This is the steeper section of the climb. So there's a section of the steep section. There's a section on the steep section. You know, you're talking 11, 11.3, 10.9, 11.3, 10.4, 10. I'd say there's about a kilometer. Not even. The end of that climb, I'd say, averages about 10.5%. This is going to be... I hope Carapaz gets a few more seconds on this one. I mean, I don't think he's going to go the full way. But is this the part where Tadej Pogačar could attack? Obviously, the radio that UAE put over the radio, it didn't seem like that was the section there, because they said make sure everyone has energy for the final 2 kilometers. So I don't think that's the point they're looking to attack with Tadej Pogačar at. But we could see different. 1.8 kilometers to go. Carapaz is on the steeper section now, but I don't think he's hitting that 10-11% section yet. He's got a gap of 37 seconds on the peloton. You've got fans with the hose squirting water over him. Hmm. 1.7 kilometers, 32.6 kilometers. No, 1.6. Yeah, sorry, 1.7 kilometers to the top, 32.6 kilometers until the end of the stage. When we have the hours you need for... I've got them. And thanks for reminding me, because I forgot to set it up. The way YouTube works, it's put into 2 sections. So the first section, when you complete it, you can you can have memberships and donations, etc., etc. And then the next section that you have to hit is for the ads on your videos and stuff like that. I've hit the first section. I've just forgotten to set it up. So thank you for reminding me. I will be setting that up. I'll set it up tonight. So I will. Because you need to open some sort of I don't even know what way it works. I need to read into it again, because the whole list that YouTube gives you for when you do apply for it, it's a confusing one. So I need to sit down and properly read it. But back to the race, Decathlon are moving up to the front of the peloton here on the right hand side of UAE. Tish Benoot, I believe it is. Yeah, it is Tish Benoot. He is leading the charge for Decathlon, with 2 teammates behind him, and then Paul Sexas. But we're seeing all the other riders drop off the back. There's 2 riders dropping for Little Trek. Arnsman dropped, Derek G dropped. I think the other one was Carlos Verona dropping is for Little Trek. But Tish Benoot is trying his best to bring Decathlon to the front and centre of this peloton. I see Tobias Hallen Johannesson there lurking in the background of the Decathlon team. But the peloton now is tiny. It is really, really small. I'd say it's about 20, 25 riders. Maybe less. I think that this corner that they're hitting now, Sexas, is the name written in massive letters on the corner. That is brilliant. But that corner they just hit, that was about 11-10%, and they're going to be keeping it at about 11-10% here for, I'd say, the next 500 metres. Tish Benoot, he falls off the back of the peloton now. We've got 2 riders remaining for Paul Sexas, but Tish Benoot did his job of bringing Decathlon to the front. It's just whether the other teammates can hold them at the front. A couple of riders struggling to hang on to the back. I believe, who is that for Alpecin? It's Ramses de Bruyne of Alpecin. Who is that? Oh no. Is that Jai Hindley? Yeah, Jai Hindley struggling to hold on as well as Chris Harper. So UAE's pace that is being set, Decathlon sort of dropped back a bit from the position Tish Benoot brought them into. But they hit the 1 kilometre mark until the top of the climb. I was about to call him Simon Yates. Adam Yates is at the front now for UAE, and he is setting a queer tempo. Behind him is Brandon McNulty, then Tadej Pogačar and Isaac Del Toro. To the left of Tadej Pogačar is Remco Evenepoel, side by side. To the right of Tadej Pogačar is the start of the decathlon train. Or the decathlon lead out. I don't even know if you could call this a lead out, but there we go. Jai Hindley's day is done. He is dropped off the back. Chris Harper as well. He's another one struggling to hang on just in front, and I think he's dropped as well. Yeah, Chris Harper's dropped. Ramses de Bruyne makes his way back onto the peloton. So this is some ride from Ramses de Bruyne. He's been in the breakaway and he's still hanging on to the back. Jorgensen though. Lenny Martinez, Ilian van Wilder, as well as Tobias Foss there, the They're the 5 riders at the back of the peloton at the moment. Good morning, Steve. Good morning. I am close. Well, no, I know I've completed it, Steve. I just need to set it up, so I do. But we've still got Carapaz out the front. They're showing a replay of him on that big sex ass written down corner. It was about 11% that corner. He's got a 30-second gap, 350 meters until the top of the climb. So he should take the. Well, I mean, he's gonna take the 10 points here at the top of this category 1 climb, and then he's going to descend down to the bottom. Who's that dropping for decathlon? Is that Parapantra or it's Riccatello? Here we go. Decathlon takeover at the front of the peloton. Nicola Prodom of Decathlon has got Paul Sexas in second wheel at the front of the peloton. Tadej Pogacar on the wheel of Sexas. I think Lipowitz is on the wheel of Tadej Pogacar. But we're about to hit the top of the climb. Well, Richard Carapaz is about to hit the top of the climb as he's got 100 meters left. And they're back to Carapaz now. They're showing the descent of the climb, and then the start. That final climb looks steep. Well, I mean, it is steep, but they're just showing the gradients of it. It does look like a brutal one. 24 seconds is the gap, so Decathlon are closing the gap now, not UAE. So if Tadej Pogacar wins this, you can't blame UAE, blame Decathlon. Because Decathlon are doing the work at the front of the peloton. Maybe, when I was doing my prediction, oh, here we go. Jorgensen and Seb Kuss have dropped off the back. Seb Kuss and Jorgensen are gone. It is just Davide Peganzoli remaining for Jonas Vingegaard. Oh no. Oh no, oh no, oh no. But as I was saying, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, Bastille Day, Tadej Pogacar is going to go for it, obviously in GC. Could Paul Sexas maybe pull something off? And I thought, no, that's a bit extreme. I will throw that to the side. But I mean, Decathlon, they're at the front. Sexas in second wheel. Shelley there, downhill attacks. We know how good Paul Sexas is on a descent. He could maybe try something out. There's the Irish flag there at the side of the road. But Richard Carapaz has a 17-second gap. Could this be the stage where Paul Sexas has a crack at it? I hope it is. I would not be against that at all. Because the climbs suit him. The climbs do suit Paul Sexas. Come on, Visma. Visma are down to the bare bones here. They've got Davide Peganzoli, who is and Jonas Vingegaard remaining, who both have a full Giro d'Italia into them. It's gonna be a hard one for, if you're a Visma fan watching this. It's gonna be a hard one because it's literally just gonna be Jonas Vingegaard on his own for the majority of it, for the rest of the tour. I mean, because if Kuss and Jorgensen are dropping there, we've seen Jorgensen drop on the Col de Tourmalet stage for trying to get into the breakaway. Oh, here we go. Radio coming through for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. What is it saying? Long downhill now. Technical. Make sure you're in a good position. That's it. That's all it said. Just make sure you're in a good position for the long technical downhill. Jonas better win today if he wants any confidence going into the third week. Well, I mean, he's still got the 2 mountain stages at the end of week 1 or week 2. Sorry. I mean, they're going to be hard, but we've seen him win on this before. Not this exact stage, but this exact finish, the final 10 kilometers, I'd say. We've seen him win on it before. We've seen him claw Tadej Pogacar back on this stage in 2024 and go on to beat him in a sprint. Oh, crash. Tom Pidcock crash. Tom Pidcock has hit the deck. He's hit the deck and he's hit the car that's parked on the corner. Yikes. Hopefully Tom Pidcock is okay, but that's the second time we've seen him crash on a descent this year. He crashed on the descent in the Volta Catalunya, and he's crashing on the descent here in the Tour de France. Obviously, he's the king of descending in recent years, but he has hit the deck. Was it Tom Pidcock? Chris Harper as well went down for, but I swear they had a Red Bull helmet on. If that wasn't I'm pretty sure that was Tom Pidcock. I seen the Red Bull helmet. I think the pair of them crashed. How does that happen? How did something? I mean, if it's very rare to see Tom Pidcock crash on a descent. Like I said, we seen him do it earlier in the season, but maybe Chris Harper went down first. We're going to see a replay of it here. They go round the corner. Tom's the first one to hit the deck first. He's like he's sliding along the ground on his belly, and then he hits the tire, the back left tire of a parked car. He's back on the bike, and he's back to descent, and he's got a 45-second gap on Richard Carapaz, and he's currently got about a 18-second gap on the peloton, which is unfortunate to see for Tom Pidcock. Like, hopefully he's all good. Hopefully he can continue on. We're seeing Torstein Thryan crash on a descent in stage 6, but he continued on, but then he ended up abandoning it after that stage. So hopefully that is not the case for Tom Pidcock. 13 mil a year is ridiculous. Should be performance-based increments to keep motivated. But yeah, I understand that. Hunky just feels weird saying that, but I understand that. So I do. But I mean, if you're a team and there's another team trying to outbid you, you're going to be trying to give as much money as possible to make sure he goes there. So that sort of takes that performative bit out of the way, because every single team is going to be wanting Paul Sexas. So it's literally just going to be the highest bidder, or highest bidder wins, or just whoever Paul Sexas wants to go to. I think not Paul Sexas. I think if anyone can close a gap like this on a descent, I think Pidcock should be able to do so. They're showing a replay again. He's got Johannesson in front of him, Lenny Martinez behind him. He wasn't sliding on his stomach. Sorry, he was sliding on his left thigh when he went down. But how did Chris Harper crash? That's the interesting one for me. Imagine if Pogacar just slaughters everyone and takes another minute. That's the way I see this going. I didn't really want to say it, but I really hope. Sorry, with 25 kilometers to go, I really hope that is not the way this stage goes. But I mean, it's just looks like the way it's going to happen. Richard Carapaz still out the front, 38-second gap. So the gap has went up on I'm calling them the peloton. Don't care if there's only 20 riders in it, but 38 seconds on the peloton. His first Tour de France has been extraordinary. It has been unreal so far for Paul Sexas. Very, very good. But we all know Paul Sexas is good in a 1-week stage race. We've seen him do it this year. This will be the week where we go, all right, okay, he's showing something. And then the third, there's a big sandbag there on the road. Then the third week is where we really get to see the full picture for Paul Sexas. But Tom Pidcock has caught up to the peloton. He's caught back up to them, which is good. So it now goes up to 21 riders. Is that what it was? Gravel. I want to give so all the 21 riders, I'm going to give you just a quick run through of all the 21 riders remaining. So, 22. So Richard Carapaz out the front in his own. Then we've got the peloton of 21 riders. Tadej Pogacar, Del Toro, McNulty, and Adam Yates of UAE. Visma Leasebike. That's wrong. It says Visma Leasebike have 3 riders remaining. Vingegaard, Jorgensen, Kuss, but that's wrong. Jorgensen and Kuss aren't there. It is Davide Peganzoli. So 20 riders then remaining. Red Bull have Remco and Lipowitz still left. Lidl have Juan Ayuso and Skelmose. EF Education have Sean Quinn. Another good performance from Sean Quinn today. He was almost in the yellow jersey at one point, but he's still sticking with the GC guys in today's stage. Decathlon, Paul Sexas, Nicola Prodom. Bahrain has Lenny Martinez. Net Company, Egan Bernal and Tobias Foss. If Tobias Foss is still in there, I mean, fair play to him. That'll be some performance as well. Then we've got Ilian Van Wilder, Quickstep, Ramses de Bruyne of Alpecin, Tobias Hall, Johannesson, Uno X, and Tom Pidcock off Q36.5. So that is what the peloton is currently looking like. I've just seen Bobby there in the chat say Kuss is back, so add Kuss to that list. Maybe Jorgen, if Kuss is back, they dropped at the same time, so maybe Jorgensen is back as well. But I don't understand why they don't have Davide Pegganzoli in that one. If Sexas finishes this tour in 4th or 5th, that would be extraordinary considering he is still a teenager. Well, for my prediction, I had him in 7th, so I did. I don't know. The jury, obviously, the jury will still be out for a lot of people because we don't know what he's like 3 weeks into a Grand Tour. Pardon me. But I had him in. I have him finishing 7th. I think I want him to finish higher. I would love him to finish higher. But I think 7th's fair enough, I suppose. With no data on him for a Grand Tour. But I mean, like you said, if he does finish in 4th or 5th, or potentially even podium, you never know. It would be an unreal performance. And he's showing signs of an unreal performance already in the first 10 stages. Pidcock catching up fast after that crash. Yep, he's caught up now, descending on an open road. He's just brilliant. He's unreal for it. Very, very good. Here we go. There's Jorgensen. So Jorgensen isn't involved in this group. PCS still need to add Davide Pegganzoli to that one. Sean Quinn apparently isn't involved as well. He's dropped out the back as well, so he's somewhere near Jorgensen. I don't actually. I really. Is Jorgensen got an issue on the descent? He's like hit snail's pace here. Carapaz is burying himself. Well, he's got a gap of a minute. 20 kilometers to go now. We've got 20.2. Sorry, but 20 kilometers to go for stage 10. Richard Carapaz out the front on his own with a 58-second gap on the peloton. The peloton has somewhere between 18 to 21 riders in it. The exact number isn't, confirmed. Actually, a minute and 1 second now is the gap. Then we've got Matteo Jorgensen, who is 2 minutes down already. Flip, he's lost a lot of time on that descent. He's a kid. He needs time. He needs time and patience to develop. But maybe he's just a very quick learner or quick developer of patience. Or the next 2 weeks will tell. Jorgensen crashed. Well, there we go. Bobby is saying Jorgensen did hit the deck. He was riding very slow there on that descent, so maybe something did happen. But come on, Richard Carapaz. If he wins this, I finally got a prediction right other than a favourite. My predictions for the Tour de France have been shocking. But here we go. Tadej Pogačar. Richard Carapaz hits the foot of the Col de Pretus. 4.5 kilometers long and has an average of 8.3%. This is the very, very steep climb. This is the steepest climb of the day. Yeah, Jorgensen did crash. He's got blood on his elbow. Giving the thumbs up to the camera though, so he seems to be all good. This is, I'm going to have a quick look at the percentages here for this climb. So the first 2.5 kilometers of this climb, you're talking lows of 7% and highs of 11.5%. Then there's a small rest area of 4% for 500 meters, and then it kicks up again, 6%, then 12%, and the final 500 meters is 8%. So that is what this climb is looking like. I tell you why are Decathlon are riding at the front of the peloton. Nicola Prodom is the first rider in the peloton. Tom Pidcock second wheel, Paul Sexas third wheel. Then we've got 2 UAE guys. Just let the UAE. I don't know. I don't know why Paul Sexas is using his last. Maybe he wants to attack on this one. If he does attack on this one, then I understand it. But I mean, the gap is 114. Carapaz is looking pretty good. 116. UAE moves straight to the front on this climb here with Adam Yates and Brandon McNulty. Nicola Prodom has still got Tom Pidcock in his wheel, but they're a couple riders back now. Paul Sexas is, He's went from third wheel to about seventh there in a couple seconds because of UAE. I think this is the climb we're going to see Tadej Pogačar launch on, so it's only a matter of time for when he does. But he's got three teammates remaining. Sorry, I keep forgetting about Isaac Del Toro, but he's like a proper luxury teammate. Wouldn't even class him as a domestic in this one. But Adam Yates out of the saddle. Nicola Prodom in second wheel. He's out of the saddle as well, trying to bring Richard Carapaz back. The gap is now 1 minute and 6 seconds. It was 1 minute and 16 at the start of the climb. Now it's 1:04. There's Seb Kuss out the back of the peloton as well. 4 kilometers, 3.7 kilometers for Richard Carapaz until the top. The peloton have just hit the 4 kilometer mark. But I mean, here, this is some ride from... Oh, I thought that was Paul Sexas. Tish Bennett dropping out. He's dropping out the back of the peloton, so he made it back on as well. But this is some ride from Nicola Prodom. I mean, if I was Nicola Prodom, I'd be dropping back a bit because Paul Sexas looks as though he's struggling. He's dropped way back in this group. And there's a small gap opening up from the likes of Remco, Vingegaard. Nicola Prodom doesn't know. What is on no? Decathlon are all over the show here. Bernal, Skelmose. I think that's Brandon McNulty as well. He's away out the back. Yep, so Brandon McNulty's gone. Skelmose's gone. Egan Bernal's gone, unfortunately for him. But Nicola Prodom's at the front of the peloton. I don't think he realises there's a gap from Nicola Prodom, Pogačar, Vingegaard, Oh no, he's got back on. Sexas got back on. Is Nicola... I don't know if I genuinely don't know if I'm being the stupid one here, but Nicola Prodom now has a gap on the peloton. I don't understand this massive... He hasn't even looked over his shoulder. Maybe he's going for the stage. But Paul Sexas is sitting about 6th or 7th in the peloton. He finally looks over his shoulder and sees he has about a 5-second gap on the peloton. I don't understand what the thinking was. Is he? Yeah, he's slowing up. I don't. What was the point in that, Prodom? And now, as soon as the peloton catch back up, he gets out of the saddle again and puts in more effort. Just sit in front of Paul Sexas. Keep him at the front of the peloton. But Juan Ayuso, he's moving up to the front now. So is Davide Piganzoli. But Tadej Pogačar, Adam Yates in front of him, Del Toro behind him, sat in third in the peloton at the moment. But Nicola Prodom, either Nicola Prodom has no idea what's going on in the peloton, or he's got something out for Richard Carapaz. And he wants Richard Carapaz back as soon as possible. The gap is still sitting comfortably at a minute as Brandon McNulty. Egan Bernal is back as well. So is Skelmose, so everyone is caught back up. We've got Tobias Hallen Johannesson, Lenny Martinez, Juan Ayuso, Skelmose, Egan Bernal, Tom Pidcock, Remco, Lipowitz, Sexas, Del Toro, Davide Piganzoli, Jonas Vingegaard, Adam Yates, Nicola Prodom. Ilian van Wilder has dropped, but all those riders I just named, never mind. Ilian van Wilder's about to make it back on here. 2.9 kilometers until the top of the climb. Richard Carapaz still holding the minute gap, but I mean, once Tadej Pogačar attacks, that minute gap will turn into 10 seconds in about 10 seconds. Steve is cheering for Carapaz. I'm cheering for Carapaz. What does he have in the vote? He's only got 7% in the vote, so he does. Tadej Pogačar sitting on 65%, Vingegaard 14%, and other 13%. Nicola Prodom's day is done as he's away at the back of the peloton now. He's still in it, but he's way towards the back of it. Adam Yates is at the front. Tadej Pogačar in the wheel. Isaac Del Toro in the wheel of Tadej Pogačar. Davide Piganzoli, he's on the right-hand side of... Never mind, he's not. Davide Piganzoli's on the right-hand side of Tadej Pogačar. Jonas Vingegaard is on the right-hand side of Isaac Del Toro, so they're riding side by side. But it is Adam Yates leading them up it. Davide Piganzoli looks as though he's sort of trying to move to the front. As he does, Davide Piganzoli is side by side with Adam Yates. But once Piganzoli's done, there's no one for Vingegaard. There will be no one left. So Davide Piganzoli is going to need to dig deep into the pockets and try and pull something off here because Pogačar still has 2. Remco and Lipowitz, they've got each other. They've put their differences aside and they've got each other. That's what's going to get them through the race. Remco's on the wheel of Vingegaard. Remco's on the left-hand side of the peloton looking at it face on. He's behind Jonas Vingegaard. Lipowitz is on the right-hand side of the peloton looking at it face on. He's on the wheel of Tadej Pogačar. So Red Bull must be trying some tactic here of maybe they both attack at the same time on either side of the road. Skelmuza. Actually, no, that's what Wana Yusu's moving up. He's now on the wheel of Lipowitz and in front of Tadej Pogacar. Tadej Pogacar moves back slightly. Davide Peganzoli, he's at the front of the peloton now, so he's rider number 1. Jonas Vingegaard is in number 2. Number 3, Del Toro, Lipowitz side by side as Tadej Pogacar comes up on the left-hand side of Lipowitz. He is now side by side with Jonas Vingegaard. Now he's on the wheel of Vingegaard, but does Vingegaard attack first? Does he dare attack first? Obviously, I mean, if he wants to gain some time back, he's going to have to attack first. Tadej Pogacar, he could attack or he could play defense. But there's Brandon McNulty as well as Adam Yates and Ilyan Van Wilder out the back. Richard Carapaz, don't forget about him. He's still up the road. 52 seconds is the gap. Don't forget as well, if you are new, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm going to be live for all of week 2 and all of week 3 of this year's Tour de France. So subscribe, join the community, get in the chat, talk about cycling, all that stuff. And yeah, welcome if you do. 1.8 kilometers until the top of the climb. There's Nicola Prodom. He's out the back after his really confusing effort at the front of the peloton. Oh, Tobias Hallen Johannesson has dropped. Breakaway duty for him now, it seems. Davide Peganzoli here he is digging deep into the pockets. He's putting in some effort at the front. Jonas Vingegaard is in second wheel. Tadej Pogacar is in third wheel. But I think when Davide Peganzoli's done here, Jonas Vingegaard is going to eye up an attack on this one. We've got 1.6 kilometers until the top of the climb. So will he attack before the top of the climb? Richard Carapaz has 1.5. The peloton just hit the 2 kilometer mark there. 50 seconds is the gap between the peloton and Richard Carapaz. So we're going to get an attack soon. I need a drink before there is an attack, so please don't attack. No attack yet, but Peganzoli, he's out of the saddle at the front of the race. He's ripping it up now, so we've finally got a Visma Lease bike teammate here that help Jonas Vingegaard. He's doing the job he was brought here to do. Obviously, he was Wout van Aert's replacement, and so far, it looks as though it's paying off. With this effort at the front, obviously he's not gaining any time, but he is helping Jonas, and he's helping bring back Carapaz. But at the front, Jonas is at second, Tadej Pogacar in third wheel, Del Toro in fourth wheel, Remco fifth wheel, Lipowitz sixth wheel, Wana Yusu seventh wheel, Sexas eighth wheel, Skelmuza ninth wheel. That is the order we are currently looking at. I can't see who's in 10th. Who was that? Pidcock maybe in 10th. Carapaz 1.1 kilometers to the top. 48 seconds is the gap. So Carapaz he's holding a good distance of 48 to 50 seconds. And he's going to take another 10 points at the top of this climb. He's got I take that back. He's got 1.1 kilometers to go. But if one of these two boys attack in the peloton, being Vingegaard or Pogacar, we could see that time drop very quickly. But I hope Carapaz does get the 10 points here and he does start fighting for the polka dot jersey then, because that would make things very interesting in that regard, and rather than just having and here we go, Tadej Pogacar attacks on the right hand side. Tadej Pogacar has attacked. No one able to follow. No one can follow. Jonas Vingegaard doesn't even react. Oh no, Tadej Pogacar has attacked. No one has followed. Attack to Tadej Pogacar. That's what the French will be screaming, but no one has followed. Here we go, Jonas. Now Jonas is out of the saddle. Has he left it too late to get out of the saddle and try and follow? Tadej Pogacar hits the 1 kilometer mark for the top of this Category 1 climb. And you can't even see anyone in the distance. Tadej Pogacar is going solo here. Egan Bernal's dropping. Davide Peganzoli's dropping. Who's at the back as well? Lenny Martinez is struggling to hold on to the wheel of Skelmuza. Pidcock as well. He's towards the back. But Tadej Pogacar is going solo on the Category 1 climb. The final Category 1 climb of the day, but not the final climb of the day. There's still one more to go after this. 15.2 kilometers to go. And Tadej Pogacar is going solo. Why did no one go with him? Why did no one go? Obviously, Jonas didn't have... But why would you have Davide Peganzoli at the front then, ripping it up if he didn't have enough to go with him? But Tadej Pogacar is going. He had the Decathlon ride for him at the bottom of the climb. He had Davide Peganzoli ride for him at the middle of the climb. He also with a bit of help from Adam Yates. But, I mean, other teams did all the work for him. to bring back Carapaz, but I mean, Carapaz isn't a danger. I mean, I'm a bit confused with how the teams have done this one, but the Isaac Del Toro's dropping. Isaac Del Toro is dropping from the likes of Ayuso, Tom Pidcock, Remco, Lipowitz, Ayuso. Could we see Isaac Del Toro drop out of contention for the podium? Bernal's about to go missing again. I think we're going to need to start getting the flyers up for where is Bernal. Hopefully they find him quickly and he can get back onto this Jonas Vingegaard group. But already Tadej Pogačar has a 20-second gap on Jonas Vingegaard. He's 5 seconds behind Carapaz. Carapaz isn't even going to get the 10 points at the top of this climb. There's 300 metres to go. Tadej Pogačar smells blood as he is literally about to hit the back wheel of Richard Carapaz and go round him with ease. There we go. Carapaz caught. Left-hand side of Carapaz gone. Tadej Pogačar is flying. Carapaz out of the saddle to try and get onto the wheel of Tadej Pogačar, try and salvage something, but not a mission. He is dropping rapidly. 17 seconds the gap to Jonas Vingegaard. The crowd is out in full force with 150 metres until the top of this climb, the Col de Pertus, and Tadej Pogačar is going solo. 19 seconds. Del Toro 28 seconds down, so there's a 10-second gap between Isaac Del Toro and the other GC favourites. And I mean, on this descent, we've seen him doing on the Col de Tourmalet. The descent isn't a proper, like a full-on descent. There's a bit of a gap in the middle of it, but Jonas Vingegaard will... Stage 10, we had one rest day, and we didn't have to wait long for another one. Another one of the Tadej Pogačar specials. There we go. The GC guys are crossing the top of the climb. Jonas Vingegaard, Lipowitz, Remco, Skalmuza, Ayuso and Paul Sexas are the group of 6 crossing the top of that climb. Isaac Del Toro, he's trying to catch Lenny Martinez and Tom Pidcock, who just crossed the top of that climb. Isaac Del Toro crosses the top of the climb now, almost hitting the barriers as well. He had to do some sort of manoeuvre there to hit or to miss them. Seriously, it was supposed to be a Jonas doing his thing if he wanted any chance of winning. Taddy says bye all. Yeah. He didn't have enough time to say goodbye. He was going that fast. I don't understand the Visma bike riding at the front and Decathlon riding at the front. Obviously, they maybe take Tadej Pogačar out of the equation and battle the other teams, but I mean, Tadej Pogačar attacked. Jonas Vingegaard couldn't follow, and he's now stuck in a group with Sexas, Evenepoel, and Lipowitz. Ayuso and Skalmuza. So I don't know. I'm not up to date on my cycling tactics, but I don't understand the. It baffles me, the Decathlon and Visma bike tactics and that one. I'm going to swap over to the multi-screen because we've got a bunch of groups now that we can follow. So on the multi-screen, we've got Tadej Pogačar. Carapaz is still chasing Tadej Pogačar. He's still in the second group. Then Jonas Vingegaard's group is now called the Peloton. And then behind them, we've got Group Isaac Del Toro. The gap from Richard Carapaz to Tadej Pogačar, they're saying, is 2 seconds. PCS says 6. So that I'll go for 4 seconds. I'll go for a 4-second gap. I'll meet them in the middle. Jonas Vingegaard, the gap is 18 seconds. The white jersey, which is Isaac Del Toro, is 27 seconds. So, I mean, we're not talking about major losses of time for Isaac Del Toro to the other GC guys, but it is still time lost nonetheless if it does end up this way. We still have one more climb to go as well. We have another 3.5 kilometer, 5.5% climb to hit. But at the front of I'll call them the Peloton. At the front of the Peloton is a Red Bull rider. Who is it though? I'm going to assume it's Remco, because Remco seems to be doing a lot of the work in the groups with all the GC guys in it. I think Juan Ayuso was sat in second wheel, Vingegaard sat in third wheel, Lipowitz, he's going to wheel suck in fourth wheel. I feel bad having to go at Lipowitz, but now here we go. Lipowitz at the front. I take everything, but never mind. Is he at the front? Yep, Lipowitz is at the front. I take everything back. Remco's now resting at the back of this group, so Lipowitz they seem to be working together. Their issues have been patched, and Lipowitz is at the front of the Peloton, trying to close the gap of Richard Carapaz and Tadej Pogačar, who are still separated themselves. 7 seconds is the gap from Richard Carapaz to Tadej Pogačar. Here, I tell you what, the time is ticking down for The Jonas Vingegaard group, 16 seconds. It was 18, now it's 16. Could we see a replay of 2024? Potentially. I mean, if that happens, I'd be bouncing around this room. There'll be an accident behind Pog. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Phil Liggett just said they might catch Tadej, so it's nailed on win for Pogacar. Tadej Pogacar, where'd Richard Carapaz go? The camera for Richard Carapaz is just filming an open road, but I can't see him there. Tadej Pogacar hits the 5 kilometer mark for the gap's 15 seconds. Sorry, I'm going back to the main thing because I should have stayed in the multi-view, but I'm going back to the main coverage so I can get a better look at the time. 17 seconds. Richard Carapaz has a 10-second gap. We hit the 10 kilometer mark now. Sorry, that's a lie. 10.4 kilometers for Tadej Pogacar. He's about to hit the 10 kilometer mark. The camera is currently on the Jonas Vingegaard group with Paul Sexas at the front. They're about to catch Richard Carapaz here. 16 seconds. Oh, come on, please. Have this be cinema. Catch Tadej Pogacar. But if they do catch him, Pogacar's just going to attack again. That's all that's going to happen. Because, I mean, when Jonas caught Pogacar in 2024, Pogacar couldn't attack again. Then it came to a sprint. But the form Pogacar's on here, I mean, Tadej Pogacar, he'll let them back. He'll attack again and take about 5 minutes. That's what I'm going with. Cameras now on the Pidcock, Lenny Martinez and Isaac Del Toro group. They're 29 seconds down on Tadej Pogacar, which is a 13-second gap on the Jonas Vingegaard group. Richard Carapaz is 5 seconds up the road on the I just call him the peloton. I keep trying to mix peloton and Jonas Vingegaard. So Carapaz is 7 seconds up the road in the peloton. Tadej Pogacar 9.2 kilometers to go. We're into the final 9 kilometers, 8.8 to go. Tadej Pogacar is up the road on his own with a 15-second gap on Richard Carapaz. 4 seconds down the road on Carapaz is the peloton consisting of Jonas Vingegaard, Remco Evenepoel, Florian Lipowitz, Juan Ayuso, Skelmoza and Paul Sexas. They should catch him fairly soon here, but the time is going up. It was going down. The peloton were sitting about 15, 16 seconds down the road on Pogacar. Now it's 22 seconds. Remco's still at the front, trying to limit damage. Remco Evenepoel's damage control. He now pulls off the side. Paul Sexas goes to the front, but the helicopter camera here is zooming out and showing us the severity of the damage Tadej Pogacar is causing. Never mind, it's down to 18 seconds. Tadej Pogacar, you can see him up the road. He's not that far up the road with 8.3 kilometers to go. Richard Carapaz is now being caught. The time is down to 17, up to 18, down to 17. Sitting comfortably in and around, down to 16. Here we go. Could we see something happen? I'm pretty sure I've seen Tadej Pogacar look over his right shoulder there to see how far they're behind. Juan Ayuso at the front now. He's taking it. No, sorry, it's Skelmoza at the front taking his turn. Carapaz actually drops out the back of the peloton. But if this peloton, these 6 riders can work together, they could pull something off here for the history books. They all work together. They all catch Tadej Pogacar. And then all 6 of them go on to win the stage hand in hand, and Tadej Pogacar drops. That'll never happen. 16 seconds is the gap. Cameras on Tadej Pogacar. Can you see the guys behind him as they swap to a replay? They're just showing the replay of the Tadej Pogacar attack. He attacks around the left-hand side of Jonas Vingegaard, and Jonas Vingegaard cannot react at all. Stays seated and just watches him go. Waiting for the camera to the pan back to the peloton here to see what is going on. But the gap is now up to 18 seconds. Like every time we've seen Tadej Pogacar go solo in a lot of the stages, all the guys never worked together. No one worked together, and then it went up to a minute, and once it hit a minute, that was it done. With 7.2 kilometers to go, everyone seems to be working together. They just can't get it under 15 seconds. It was down to 16, now it's up to 17. But they are working together, that's the thing. Richard Carapaz has dropped. He's dropped out of that group entirely now. "19 seconds is the gap on, no. Oh no. Carapaz 31 seconds down. Isaac Del Toro's group there 38 seconds down, so they're 20 seconds down now on the peloton. As we now hit the 20-second mark for the 21 seconds. Oh no. Oh no. The camera's panned back to Isaac Del Toro's group. He's leading them out. Lenny Martinez in second wheel. Tom Pidcock is in third wheel. Obviously, he had that crash on the descent off the first Category 1 climb, the Puy Marie. He still looks a bit banged up there on the left leg, but he moves to the front. Del Toro in second wheel. Lenny Martinez still floating about in third wheel. Camera pans back to the fully kitted out yellow jersey. He's got yellow wheels, full yellow jersey with the yellow shorts. That is some bike. Like, I mean, that is a crazy looking bike. And I'm sure that bike's probably more expensive than the majority of the cars nowadays. But have we got an attack out the front of the peloton? Is that an attack by Florian Lipowitz? I think Florian Lipowitz is attacked out of this group. Remco's at the back of the peloton now. Vingegaard's trying to close the gap to Lipowitz. But I think Florian Lipowitz is just attacked out of that peloton. The camera's panned back to Carapaz here. As Remco looks to be dropping. Has Remco... Oh no. Remco is dropping. Can he get under the back of Skelmose? But I think Remco Evenepoel... I think his day is done as Tadej Pogačar hits the foot off the final climb. 3.1 kilometers long. Has an average of 6%. PCS say 3.5 at 5.5. PCS are saying 3.5 at 5.5%. 5.8 kilometers to go. 3 kilometers to the top of the climb, so we'll have 2.7 kilometers of racing after the top of this climb. Lipowitz trying to lead out Remco, but it's not working. Oh, no. I think Remco's caught back up. Lipowitz has been caught though. Vingegaard is leading them out. Lipowitz in third wheel, Lipowitz in second wheel, Sexas third wheel, Ayuso fourth, Skelmose fifth, and then a couple bike lengths to Remco as the gap is looking as though it is increasing. Can Remco get back on? A lot of people said he will be out of the leadership role for Little Trek after week 1. First stage in week 2, and he is slowly dropping. I mean, I don't think this performance, puts him out of the leader's spot. I think if he does drop, it might be, 10, 15 seconds. But it still is a blow to the Remco Evenepoel armour. And will he be able to keep a cool head after it? Tom Pidcock, Richard Carapaz, Isaac Del Toro and Lenny Martinez are the group behind. They're now sitting about 40 seconds down on the peloton. Remco's 2 seconds down on the peloton, but Tadej Pogačar 27 seconds up the road. The time increased and it hasn't stopped increasing either. He's got 2.2 kilometers until the top of the climb. I'm happy the peloton have worked together and they're limiting losses and they're keeping it around that 20-30 minute. Jeez, wouldn't surprise me if it was that at some point, but 20-30 second mark. Remco's down 4 seconds. Vingegaard's still leading them out. Oh, come on, Remco. Catch up. Just dig deep. I think he's done. I think Remco's Tour de France leader position. There's cracks showing, but I think everyone watching, you know it, I know it. I think it looks as though it is done, and the crown will be passed on to Florian Lipowitz in the team bus. But I tell you what, Skelmose is having some performance. Him and Juan Ayuso, they do work well together. Little Trek might have something on their hands for future Grand Tours. Isaac Del Toro now, he's attacked out the front off the other riders, that being Pidcock, Carapaz and Lenny Martinez, and now he's going to try and limit losses. We know Isaac Del Toro is a rider who doesn't like to follow attacks. He likes to ride at his own pace, and then he dictates when he wants to go. He's obviously dictated that he wants to go now. He's currently 40 seconds down on the Jonas Vingegaard, Paul Sexas, Scalmuza, Ayuso and Florian Lipowitz group. He's about 30 seconds down on Evenepoel. Let's see how this plays out between him and the others. They're the stage favourites. Let me actually swap back to the GC. See what could potentially be changing in the GC today. We've got 4.2 kilometers to go, so I'll change that to 4. That's the GC. Remco, Isaac, here, Juan Ayuso could be up in third here after this stage. Paul Sexas could be up in the fourth, potentially fifth. Florian Lipowitz, I think he's 5 seconds behind side. We could see a shuffle here from third to seventh. So we could 1.2 kilometers until the top of the climb. 31 seconds is the gap between Tadej Pogačar and the rest. Remco Evenepoel has a 6-second gap, 5-second gap on the others now. He is closing. It was going out, now he's closing. Now it's sort of stabilising. Isaac Del Toro, 1 minute and 13 seconds down. So he's still 40 seconds behind the other GC favourites. Don't forget as well, if you are new, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I'm going to be live again tomorrow and the next day and the next day until the end of the Tour de France. I'm live for every single stage. So subscribe, join the community, get involved. The road to 1,000 subscribers is on. And, if you do subscribe, welcome to the Final K. 3.6 kilometers left though, 800 meters to the top of the final climb for Tadej Pogačar. 30 seconds is the gap for Jonas Vingegaard and co. 40 seconds for Remco Evenepoel. It is now 8 seconds between him and the others. Isaac Del Toro, 1 minute and 17, 1 minute 18 down. So everything is sort of stabilising out. I mean, obviously the gap's going to grow from Tadej Pogačar to the others. But for Isaac Del Toro, actually no, the Isaac Del Toro gap's up to 50 seconds now. So Isaac Del Toro's losing time on the others. Who wins the sprint though between Vingegaard, Lipowitz, Ayuso, Scalmuza and Sexas? I know with Ayuso, I think Ayuso will win that sprint. But look at that corner. Look at the crowds on that corner. There's about 5 people deep on that corner. 500 meters until the top of the climb for Tadej Pogačar. Then he's going to have a nice easy descent until the bottom of the climb where he is then going to have to go uphill again for the final 500 meters until the finish. Obviously, the last time this happened, 2024, Pogačar went up the road. Jonas Vingegaard clawed back, caught him and beat him in the sprint. I know it's 2 years since Vingegaard beat Tadej Pogačar in a sprint, and I don't think Jonas Vingegaard has won a sprint since then. But Tadej Pogačar is going solo this time. He isn't playing around, and he means business in this Tour de France. 2.9 kilometers to go. 35-second gap. I mean, I hope we see an attack here from someone in the GC group before the top of this climb, before the descent. Make things, spice things up a bit. But, I mean, Vingegaard, who's going to attack at it? Maybe Paul Sexas has a crack at it. Maybe Paul Sexas fancies his luck and tries to do a wee attack before the descent. The GC guys are now hitting the 3 kilometer mark. So they have 3 kilometers to go. They're 400 meters behind Tadej Pogačar. Remco Evenepoel, he now hits the 3 kilometer mark. He's got a gap of about set here. I tell you what, Remco's doing. Remco's holding the gap well. He's sitting about 7 seconds. He lost the wheel. The gap went out. He's still holding it on. He could catch them in the descent. But over the top of the climb, Scalmuza seems to go through. Jonas Vingegaard leads charge with Scalmuza and his wheel are now side by side. Juan Ayuso sat in second/third wheel, depending on the order of Scalmuza and Vingegaard. And then we've got Paul Sexas at the back and Lipowitz in fourth. Now, Tadej Pogačar just hit that corner on the descent. If you remember that corner from 2014, because I do, Roglic crashed on it. I remember that one. Roglic and Evenepoel were in a group together and they came around that weird-looking corner and Roglic hit the deck on that. And did he abandon after that? I think I remember that corner specifically with Roglic crashing on it. I just got a glimpse of it there and thought, flashbacks. But this descent here down to the finish is a very narrow road. Quite tricky as well with all the corners. So hopefully no issues in the Jonas Vingegaard group. Tadej Pogacar, he's out the road on his own, so all he has to worry about is himself. No, hold up, that was the corner. That corner Tadej Pogacar hit was the Roglic crash one. I'm sure of that because I remember it now. He's hitting 40 kilometers. 40. I would have my hands over the brakes like mad on a road like this with corners like that. I would be shaking with 5 riders chasing me down. But here we go. Tadej Pogacar hits the 1 kilometer banner. 1k to go for Tadej Pogacar. He has got a gap of 44 seconds. Damn. It was so close. So close. 17 seconds. And then it went up to 44. Down to 43, 42. They're catching him. They're gonna catch him here. 40 seconds is the gap now. But I tell you what, the crowd is crazy. You know, we small town here. And the crowd is actually very, very, very big. 600 meters to go for Tadej Pogacar. You know, he's won the stage. I'm going to call him winning the stage, but here's the interesting battle here as the GC group. Remco catches up. Remco has caught them. 1 kilometer to go for the GC guys. And Remco is, I'm calling him the GC. Obviously, Tadej Pogacar is the GC guy, but the others are called the GC guys. As the cameras now pull off to the side, the Finnish camera is up ahead, and Tadej Pogacar is on his own. He looks over his shoulder, grits the teeth. He can see no one is behind him. He has laid everyone to waste. And he's just not giving up. He's still putting in the damage. Obviously, this time 2 years ago, he'd be sprinting against Jonas Vingegaard. He comes 2 years later, and he's riding solo. And Jonas Vingegaard is near a minute down. So that just shows you the difference 2 years can make. As here we go, the final straight. Yet again, one more look over the right shoulder. He realises no one's with him. Fist pump from the right hand. Is he even going to celebrate, or is he going to try and take every second possible? Yeah, he does. There we go. Crosses the line, hands off, screams, shows the jersey off, and he points at it, points in the sky and says, I'm here, and I'm not letting go of this. But here we go. Remco, hold up. Remco Evenepoel launches the sprint. No way, masterclass from Remco. What? Remco's launched the sprint. No one can follow. Paul Saxas is second, or the first rider in the second group. He now opens the sprint, so it's Remco Evenepoel with Paul Saxas. There's going to be a time gap. Where's Jonas Vingegaard's cracked? What has happened here? Remco finishes in second. Lipowitz is going to finish. Lipowitz and Paul Saxas have a photo finish for third. Juan Ayuso takes fourth. Skelmo's in fifth. And Jonas Vingegaard crosses the line now. What? What just happened? Remco dropped. I tell you what a performance from Remco. What a performance. Here comes Isaac Del Toro now. He's about to hit the minute. He hits a minute. What is the damage going to be though at the finish? But what a finish from... Why? See if Tadej Pogacar wasn't there. That would have been... Oh, what a finish that would have been. Oh. But I'm speechless. I don't even have the words for the performance Remco's just pulled off there. That was crazy. That was a brilliant finish by Remco Evenepoel. You're right, Breakaway. 43 seconds plus the 10 bonus seconds for Pogacar. Yep. But here, the big question is, can Jonas Vingegaard finish in second? That is the big question now. Here comes Carapaz, Pidcock, Lenny Martinez, etc. They're all finishing now. No problem, Steve. Thank you. But I'll wait for the top 10 because obviously the people are still crossing the line. But if you are new, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Been live for near 2 hours now, jeez. If you are new, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to be live for every single stage of the Tour de France. I've been live for the entirety of week 1. I'm going to be live for all of week 2 and live for all of week 3. So join the community, get involved. And yeah, what a stage. Remember, I forgot. Thank you, Breakaway, for telling me. I will definitely get onto that. But the top 10, I think the top 10's finished now. But I need to see the time gaps here. Right, well, I'll do the top 8 because the top 8's the one that matters. So, Tadej Pogacar in first. Remco Evenepoel in second, 32 seconds down. Paul Saxas in third, 34 seconds down. Lipowitz in fourth, 34 seconds down. Juan Ayuso in 5th, 38 seconds down alongside Skalmoser, who finished in 6th. Jonas Vingegaard in 7th, 44 seconds down. 44 seconds down. He finished last in the GC group. Obviously, he was at the front doing a lot of the work, trying to bring Pogacar back, but damn. 54 seconds down on Tadej Pogacar after that stage. He stuck a minute into Vingegaard. Remco Evenepoel finishes 12. Remco Evenepoel finishes 18 seconds ahead of Jonas Vingegaard. If someone said Remco Evenepoel is going to finish second and he's going to stick 18 seconds into Jonas Vingegaard, everyone would have laughed at the start of this stage. Bernal finished. Did Bernal finish? I'm glad Bernal finished. But the rest of the top 10, Isaac Del Toro in 8th, a minute and 30 down. Pidcock in 9th, a minute and 59 down. And Lenny Martinez in 10th, 203. Carapaz in 11th, 209. But that was some stage, I tell you. That was, who was Rider of the Day? I don't even know who to give it to. You've obviously Tadej Pogacar, Remco Evenepoel in contention, and Javier Romo. It would be between one of those three. Who I give my Rider of the Day to, I don't know. I don't want to give it to Tadej Pogacar because, I mean, he's going to win Rider of the Day pretty much every mountain stage. I like to give it to someone different. For my Rider of the Day, just because of that performance at the end, I'm going to give it to Remco. Obviously, Javier Romo was solo in the breakaway for so long. It does warrant it, but that performance at the end, that left me speechless. So Remco's gonna get my Rider of the Day on that one. But yeah, that is the end. Bernal's been finished ever since that crash. He's just grateful to still be riding. He may grab another stage win or two before his career's over though, on a breakaway. We do not take any Bernal slander here, Paige. No, I'm only joking. Bernal's, he's one of my favourite riders, so it's just a running joke when he disappeared in the Giro d'Italia one time and we couldn't find him, and then he was eventually found in the end. But yeah, what a stage! I'm speechless. I thought it was going to be boring, you know, when the peloton caught the breakaway and when Tadej Pogacar went out the front, and yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy it was still a good stage. But yes, I'm going to wrap this one up. So I am. I'm going to wrap this stream up. Thank you for watching the Final K. Like I said, if you are new, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Stage 10. I mean, the majority of the stages so far in this Tour de France have been brilliant. I think every single winner as well have been in like the top 30 riders in the peloton at the moment, which is crazy. See you tomorrow for a boring stage unless Askren will do something. So yeah, sprint stage tomorrow. I'll probably be live about 40 kilometers from the finish. So I will see you all tomorrow. But yes, if you joined at the beginning of the beginning of the stream, means a lot. If you join there for the final 1 kilometer as well, I appreciate it as well. But yeah, stage 10 was a crazy one. Tadej Pogacar wins it. Remco Evenepoel drops, comes back and wins the sprint. But Jonas Vingegaard is going to be the main headline. 54 seconds down on Tadej Pogacar, and he's last in the GC group. Yikes. No problem, Kat. No problem, Lynn. All the best, Shelley. But yes, I've said it 3 times, and I said every time I'm ending the live, I'm going to end the stream here. Thanks for watching the Final K. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for stage 11 of the Tour de France. All the best.